Welcome, CityState 2 fans, to CityState 2 with Omnius Prime. Episode 3 Politics and Policies for Dummies. Now, before I jump into the politics and policies, I want to kind of finish up on doing Underground Rail. Now, we're back in Giddy Prime, which is kind of turning into a test city for me. Okay. Now, what I've done here, okay, this little building here is rail tracks. Now, let's change the angle here. You can see how it kind of tries to go down. And if we look at the front end here, you can see it looks like it's going down. Okay. Man, there's a little train right there in the station. Looks like it might want to head across the tracks. Now, let's come up here and let's go underground. So as you can see now, I have me and my clumsy mitts. This is why I do not play arcade style games. Okay. Now it's kind of a funky system here where you can see the what we see at ground level here ending up below level, but notice where the track starts. Kind of like there's not a good transition between that and this see square, this one right here, this like a square connecting track that would be like a four-way connection. Now, what I've done is I've run this track under the road here, okay? Because the whole idea of trains in this game is that you will set up your train stations right on sidewalks, okay? Be it these nice avenues or along the roads and stuff. And what I did is I kind of set up a little test here. You can see there's actually a train down here. I've been trying to hope that I could see trains crossing across this no man's land here. But what I want to do is just basically give you a quick rundown on underground trail layout. So if I come down here and okay, now we've got above ground rail right here that we need to bring down. So what I want to do is come up here. I'm not sure exactly how far. Now this is, what is it called? It's called the underground rail connection. I call it the transition tube. Okay, looks like the transition tube took. Now, if I go down underground, okay, now what I have to do is, since I like being like right justified, I'm going to go there. So the first step is to connect under the road. Now, and you see how it's blue? That tells me that it's connected to the track there. Now I'm just going to run my track across, okay? Make sure it's anchored on the right side. And I've run some track through there. And now, theoretically, I have a connection between ground and above ground and below ground. So, come up here. I'm gonna, so it looks like I can do this. This was a question I had, was that, and I see. So you got to be kind of careful about this now. Okay, so I'm going to erase it. Now, let's rebuild it. let's try right there. And now let's take a look at my connection. Boom. So yes, I can do it right there. That's really cool. Then I just come down and carefully. So I run it across to here. And now I can run it down the road to here. And that should give me enough space here. Yeah, okay. So now, how do I lay out the Underground Railroad stations? Remember my bus layout? Same thing. So now I'm just doing, whoops, oh well, I got another one there. And then I would put one over, I hope I got the rail connection there. And, yep. So yeah, my Underground Rail layout is basically just the same thing as my bus layout. Makes it really nice and simple. And now, let's pop, or maybe we'll just do this, but let's get some clock running now. And let's just see. Now, I don't think you will ever see a train go into the connecting tube. But we should start seeing some trains running. Where did I place the population at? Right here. Now, here's an interesting view. Now, you can't see any of the buildings except for these ones that are building right now. And I did get to a point where I had a video glitch where I had like the ground running across the buildings here. But when I went out into the national map, went back into the city, there was no problem. So, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's go back underground and let's just see. I was looking for, hopefully to see maybe a train pop up over here and then start running through here. But, okay. So there's, that bus stop has 6,954 passengers. This one has 5,768. This one still has 0. I'm not sure why this one has 0 when this one has like 1,489. Now you can see I started like zoning on the same side of both sides of the street and stuff here. So here, basically, this is basically now a kind of a throwaway city. This is always my first map, was just my test map. Now here I laid out some of those, the paths. And they look kind of slick, you know. I mean, the reflection, as you can see, looks pretty cool. And if I switch to, okay, let's go to nighttime. There we go. You can see now, sadly the lights don't light up. That would have been so cool if the lights would light up and light up the walkways. But that reflection looks pretty cool. As I'm finding cool looking things, I like to kind of show it off to people. Okay, and then I can just go back to day and night. And now it brought me back to day again. So that is my little show and tell on how you can use these underground rail connections, and you can connect above ground rail to below ground rail. Now I didn't do it in this city. I was just gonna, like, you know, run it out with the above ground rail. But now that I see how this works, yeah, you know, that looks pretty slick. So I'll be back and we'll start talking about politics and policy. Here we are back in the capital of Omnius Prime. And as you can see here, I want to kind of start off and just show you, this is my first city, obviously. So here my thoughts were to use farms here. As like, if you look, I have a big block, but it's broken up into farms on the left quarter. In the middle, you have kind of like a quarter section that's supposed to be advanced manufacturing, but you know, it just you can't. It's hard to separate advanced and basic manufacturing. They're going to pretty much sit side by side, regardless of land value and stuff. So where they say that advanced manufacturing wants high land value, it's more clean land. Advanced manufacturing wants clean land, and as you can see, it's not exactly clean. I don't have all that many carbon capture units around here. Like I said, this was my first city, and I just was kind of figuring out what to do. Now, let's come down here. I was hoping that I'd get, there we go. Sometimes this doesn't want to zoom down as far as I want to go. But you can see pretty much how detailed the grass looks, okay? For some odd reason, I just can't seem to get it to go down like where it shows individual strands. But that's not important. But it is the visual quality is just really excellent for this game. So I basically use these farms, and as you can see, I have some water towers here. Carbon capture, I'm trying to keep things clean. Okay, and you see how I was doing parks around the what I would consider advanced manufacturing area. Then I started to get into the water pumping stations. Now, I didn't get rid of the water towers, because what I was doing is, as I was building the water pumping stations, they were pumping out too much water. So what I would do is I would turn off some of the water towers so that I could save some money. So in the first city, boy, I was, you know, really pinching pennies and stuff to get the finances working. Now, let's talk about government buildings. Okay, this is it right here. Now, first thing you're going to have is the government headquarters, which is this building here. It is now at 5 out of 5. I have, fictitious jobs are at 0. Okay, and fictitious jobs are at 0. Now, let's talk about fictitious jobs. Unfortunately, I didn't turn these on. Now, normally I will play with no fictitious jobs. It'll drive up the cost. 5,000 jobs will cost you $10,000. So like $2 a month per job. You don't want to use fictitious jobs if you can help it. But there are a couple of interesting situations where, right here, rehabilitation center down in the bottom right here, okay? Unemployment rate lower than 4%. I was at 6 or 7, something like that. I was really close on the unemployment rate. So what I did is I went into the government HQ, jacked it up to 5,000 jobs. It dropped my unemployment rate down under 4% so that I could get the rehabilitation center, and then I set it back again to 0 fictitious jobs. Now, so one thing you can do is to turn on the fictitious jobs to kind of drop your unemployment rate. Like right now, it's at 12%, okay? So that's pretty jacked up. And let's just run clock and let's see if that will actually affect the unemployment rate. Um, I stopped building at around 871,000, and I was in the city running clock. I wasn't building. So when I left it, I had a lot of residential buildings at level 6 out of 6. Then they all went to 7 out of 7. Okay, so now I've got like all this. Here's one it's still at 6 out of 7. Okay, but now what's happening is my city is leveling up that last set of buildings, and here I am. I'm over 1 million people. I mean, just since the clock has been running. Well, the unemployment isn't dropping, but it also isn't going up as much as it was. But now, what's funny? Here's my airport right here. It's closed. So I'm not getting any immigration out of my airport. I'm just population. This is just birth rate. Okay. Now, as you can see, most people in Omnius Prime are taking a car. I've got a little bit of bus activity going on because it's the only public transportation activity going on. Okay, but look at my traffic congestion, 63%. I mean, this was just like, ooh, man. And I only had bus routes. And at first I was kind of just trying to do alternate streets instead of every street, and yeah, it just wasn't working when I did the every street. It definitely helped get things moving. Now, if we come over here and look at, yeah, you can see how the traffic is just a whole lot of red. A whole lot of red, Now, the other thing that I did, the mistake that I made, I made roads, not avenues, my spine. So see, here's, there's my avenues. They're all running around the block. I was hoping that the traffic would get onto the avenues and then take the avenues going places. But no, it's kind of like a very simplistic traffic programming where they kind of go in a straight line and on whatever road or avenue or street they might be on. So this was definitely where I was learning how to make a city and how to make it work. I didn't know about the arcologies yet and how big they were. So yeah, I had to kind of like, bulldoze buildings and move things around and just go crazy. So now let's go back here. Now there's a Department of Immigration, and that unlocks border policies. Border control, yowza, okay? So like right here, you can control border policy. I've got it set to 10% for least developed countries. I don't want a bunch of riffraff coming in, okay? For developing countries, 100%. For developed countries, 100%. I kind of want the middle class and upper class coming into, you can see the percentages here, like least developed countries, 92% lower income. You get to a developed country and it's only 14%. And you're getting 14% higher income instead of just 1% from the least developed countries and only 2% from the developing countries. So you can see here that what I'm doing is kind of like picking right and left pretty heavily, because I'm and as you can see, you've got like 400. So what is it? Yeah, I guess 438. You got 481 from the least developed countries, and it's only 73 from the most developed countries. But immigration is something that will make or break you as far as unemployment goes. So now what I did is I upgraded this airport, I think twice, and I decided, you know what, I'm letting too many people in. So now and you look in every other city, I do the airport, I do the connections, I up the connections, but I never upgrade. So what I've learned is to keep the unemployment rate low. What you want to do is limit your immigration, okay, and set your immigration policy. Bring in the good people, and don't bring in a bunch of lower income people, or you're going to end up with slums all over the place. Okay. Now, central bank unlocks foreign currency. Okay. Going to the budget, we can do things like buy dollars. Okay. You can print money. Don't print money. Okay. It says decreases stability by 15 points, increases inflation, reduces value in national currency. Here it increases the value of the national currency and increases stability by 15 points. I'm down to now where 1 USD equals 0.23 CSD. And I think I started out somewhere around 1 USD equals 3 CSD. So I really kind of went overboard on buying dollars early on as far as inflation control goes. But I learned inflation control, 2.4% right now. You see down at the bottom of this column here at the very bottom near the close sign. Okay, 2.4%. The higher the unemployment rate, the lower your inflation rate. The lower your unemployment rate, the higher your inflation rate. Now, and the other thing is with zoning, right now it looks like the only thing he wants me to zone is a lot of retail. But if I zone retail, then it'll want basic industry. And when I zone basic industry, it'll want offices. And then when you do offices, they're going to want like advanced manufacturing. So, so one thing feeds another. Okay, this was pretty well thought out. This whole economic system. Now let's see. What do we got here? Central bank. We have Department of Commerce unlocks economy policies, and then you have the Department of Social Affairs, which unlocks social policies. Finally, the Capitol that unlocks custom policies. Legislation. So you have economic policies, okay, of various types, government policies of various types, 17 of them, 17 of these, 17 of society, different things about society, okay? Then you have custom. These are policies that I made, that I kind of like roll your own, okay? Now here, I jacked up the money trying to pay for this, and but what I did is I jacked up education by 2%, but I had to pay for it, okay? So I dropped civil rights by 1 point, dropped social ladder by 0.8%, economic freedom by 0.8 points, okay? Birth rate by 0.8%. Religiousness, I really picked on religiousness, minus 1.2%. So I made various policies here, okay? Education boost, civil rights boost. So what I was doing then, and then when I realized, oh man, I've got to get 50 policies and I've only got 43, so I had to make up a whole bunch of different policies. Like here, I did a couple of corruption reductions. Okay, see there's a minus 1% there. And, I dropped my economic freedom by 0.2. I dropped my social ladder here in the middle by 0.2, and I did my civil rights over here on the far left by 0.2, also dropped education by 0.4. By the time that I had my education jacked up, and I didn't need it anymore, then I could start picking on education to reduce the education policy effects. Here, once again, I was playing with the money, trying to pay for it, and it just really didn't do a good job. Although here in my social ladder boost, somehow I ended up getting the money to, I guess, go positive on me. Okay. Okay, so that green means that I'm making money. And then you see when I got down later on to like health boost, the last couple of ones, um, um, here's a pollution reduction. Then I just didn't even bother with the money because it just, pay for it with, as you can see, other different things. So if you want something good in one area, you've got to give up a little something in other areas to balance it out. And there was like 1 point left, okay? And that's why it would enact. So you've got to be really close. There's nothing that tells me if I can go negative or how negative I can go, so I'm usually trying to get a positive score when I do it. This screen right here is kind of like a summary of all the policies, what it does to each kind of area. Okay, like the top row here is businesses, and then you have second row some political things, civil rights, social ladder, economic freedom, and then this third row you have a lot of policies here for health, education, security, birth rate, religiousness, pollution, and finally corruption. Now, the overall effect of all of my policies is plus 24 to the right. And to think I'm a liberal. Oh well. But like I said, I was running I'm trying to run a balanced political system because sometimes you've got to go liberal, sometimes you got to go conservative. Because what you need to do is let's look at special buildings, okay? This is like a really important screen. You really want to pay attention to it. As you can see, each one of the government buildings, government headquarters up here on the top right, left, then the Department of Immigration, it's going to give you a little thing about, it tells you what you need. So like at 2,000, I'm going to get national population for the government headquarters. At 25, I get the commerce. At 50, I get social affairs. At 75,000, I get central bank. 300,000, I'm going to get the national population. And somewhere like, and then the different stages. Now, the 100,000 national population and education level greater than 80. I can't remember. That's not the first. That's not the first stage level, but it's I don't know, maybe stage 3, something like that. So this is in the capital city. It's very important that you look at the special building screen because only in the capital city will the requirements for the different stages show up properly. And the final stage 5 out of 5 was 1.2 million national population. I had my national population jacked up to 4 million, wondering what the heck do I need how much population do I need? Well, what I didn't see was the 50 policies enacted. That didn't show. And so I kept building cities, building population, and not getting that last government upgrade unlocked. And then finally, when I went into the capital city, looked here at the screen, it was like, oh, duh. That's when I made the policies and got things squared away. Now, our colleges A, B, and C, these are your wonderful housing developments. Now, to get our college A, you need to get 120 city population, education level greater than 90. B will unlock once you hit 240,000 city population. C will unlock when you get 480,000 city population. So in your first city, you want to build up your first city to at least over 500,000 so you get all of these arcologies unlocked. Now you have something cool like the red light district. It says that you need at least 70 points of economic freedom. I got it when I had 67. I had been on 64 points of economic freedom for like forever, and didn't see this red light district become available. And Andy, and I told Andy, that he should set it for 65 instead of 70, is what's shown on the screen here. But Andy said, "Oh, it's 60," and I said, "No, Andy, I was at 64 and never saw that unlock until I went to 67." So hopefully this screen is going to get fixed up for the red light district, and it's going to tell us the correct number of points for economic freedom it will require. The Edenium requires 70 points of civil rights. Okay, that one's pretty easy. And then some of these things where you got to do, like you might have to set your prostitution policy set to legal. So you set it to legal so that you can do the unlock. If you want to, you can change it back to something not legal later on. Same thing with civil rights. You want to focus on your civil rights to get this Edenium unlocked. But the most important one is education. When you're building, you stress your education first. Okay, and this is what you want to go for. Your policies all enacted. You want to get these are colleges. You want to get the education level of 90. Okay, then university. 100,000 national population, education level higher than 65. This is kind of one of your first goals. You want to get that university to help you get to education level above 90 to get the arcologies. And then there's one more building, fusion power plant. Okay, this you need education level at 100 or above. Woo! Let's look at stuff now. Let's get my little thing here. So here we got a middle income housing. Okay. Second line from the bottom, education level 73 out of 100. Okay. Here's a low income housing 73 education level, second from the bottom 73 out of 100. Here we have an arcology B. Now the education level here is only 68.9. Now I've dumbed down my education levels since I first attained the 100 mark, and it wasn't easy. But these arcologies, they were coming in. I was building the arcologies, and they were giving me 101.6. Now, all the other buildings, they start at 0, okay? And then you have to teach your people, so it takes time to build up their education level. So getting to 90 is tough, but getting to 100 is even tougher. I mean, that's where you have to max out your capacity, max out your policies. I had 112 policy score. And obviously, max out your teachers, library, and like I said, I even made a custom policy here. Whoopsie. Let's go back here. For that was the first thing I did, education boost. Okay, and once I got those education targets taken care of, then I could slack off on education. One of the ones that was really, let's see if I can find it. Private schools. This is the one. Okay. Now, right now, I got it set to allow private schools, universities. Okay. It's got a -2 on the education score here. Okay. If I go to private schools or banned, look at that. Puta, huh? Plus 5%. And of course, there's a political cost and gain. 40% approval gain on the left, 40% approval loss on the right. Okay, so these, the political affiliations, the policies, you're trying to do some left, some right. You want to kind of try to, keep it kind of even here. But look at that. The 4,000 for the allow private school, high schools, and universities, like this would cost 16,000 in this city. So you can see you know, I had to jack it up to make that happen. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that because I don't want to really change it. So some of these policies are just really, 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 really fun to play with. Well, let's just play around some more with them. So let's see, like economy. Um, like you can have, say, the stock market. Okay. What did I do? Oh, I went self-regulated with private rating agencies. You could go as all the way over to like close the stock market, which would be 80% negative approval from the right and 60% approval from the left. But I went with self-regulated with private rating agencies, and because it was the economic freedom here. Because I reset this policy, I think I have it like set for this certification required for all securities. Okay, and then it was only minus 40 on the left, plus 20 on the right. Economic freedom was only 0.1, plus 0.1. But I went to this because at the time I was trying to jack up my economic freedom. So sometimes you just you know, you have to set policies to help you gain something, okay? And then, you know, after you gain it, you can reset it. But one of the things you don't want to do is on this stability score down here, like it's at 100. Every time you do a policy, it drops your stability score by 10 points. If your stability score goes down too low, you pass a policy that honks off some group of people, then you'll get protesters. But protesters are no big deal. I always just ignore them. The only reason you get protesters is if you get a little over rambunctious on enacting policies. And you drive your stability score down below where it really needs to be. Let's see if I can't wet my whistle here. Doing more talking and stuff. So people think that, yeah, this is very perplexing and stuff. Let's see here. I went with tariffs. Once again, I set this from the for the economic freedom. I think I had it somewhere like around low. But I really like see here I could get 2,000 per month. 2,028 if I set it to low. If I set it to high, it's like triple that, 6,000. But it does have an effect. It gives a plus 0.5% retail boost, plus 0.5% office boost. Basic manufacturing goes down minus 2%. Advanced manufacturing is not affected. So these policies just affect different things, and for different reasons you may set them and then reset them because yeah, there are times when these special buildings, they tell you you want, you know, like state social media. This was the last thing I unlocked. Now it says it gives 10 bonus points of approval. Increase security level, lower the education level slightly. I have not seen really the 10 bonus points of approval. I've built them in every city that I've been playing in where I've gone back in and built population, whatever. I built a state-owned media center, and it just doesn't seem to be affecting the approval rating that much. Okay, I mean, like right now I'm down at 59% here in my capital city, but that's probably because my unemployment's higher than where I really would want it to be. I would have to really do a major rework, probably take out some residential and put in some commercial and industrial to balance out the population again. But this is a test map, so I have no interest in doing that. My next map is going to be much better. Now, the carbon capture plant, that's another important thing. That's also education level higher than 890. So carbon capture plant in our colleges you get at education level 90, and yeah, the carbon capture plants do work. They are wonderful. Rehabilitation center. Now this does take 70 points of economic freedom. And like I said, an unemployment rate lower than 4%. And that's where the fictitious jobs from the government come in. You don't use them until you do something like, oh, I need to run down my unemployment rate. Boom. And then you have that instant boom. You let the clock run at fast speed. Watch the unemployment rate drop below 4%. Boom, you get your rehab center. Then you can, undo the government jobs. You're back in business. Okay. Let's see. The Gulag. Now, the Gulag is still locked. Okay. Now, the Gulag is what I call the booby prize of special buildings. To qualify, you need less than 45 points of economic freedom. And your criminal rehabilitation policy is set to manual labor. Now here's an interesting thing. I hope Andy's watching. Here's the rehab description for rehab, but the rehab center also, it says the rehab center that teaches work ethics. I think here what's meant is a rehab center. I would just say that take out the rehab center and it just teaches work ethics, okay? Because that just confuses me to say a rehab center for convicts, okay? So this is, I guess, a rehab center for teaching lazy people how to work. There's some people that I've met that, yeah, they'll never learn. They're better to be paid and to not to work. So, so that pretty much covers the policies, I think. And let's just let the clock run a little more. And as you can see, let's see if we can find some heavy-duty traffic. Yeah, now it's kind of filling up. But as you can see, these things with the arrows, those are your buses. So yeah, here in the capital city, like I said, I was searching around trying to figure out how this works. This happened to be about the most level city on the planes maps. So this is why I started here, okay? And here's a nuclear power plant right there. And this city does have every kind of power plant. Let me see. These are these little diesel generators. These are kind of your first power plants, your baby power plants. Now let's see. I should have. Well, I guess I don't have it here. I wanted to show. Yep, that's a nuke plant. Oh, I know what I did. I replaced the coal plant with a nuclear power plant. Boy, once again, having the power outages. Well, I'm going to wet my whistle some more, and I'll be back in another segment to kind of wrap up this episode. As I'm winding this episode down, I think what I want to do is kind of come up here and let's look at these different cities. Now, Omnius Prime, we were just in. Obviously, I did the Control-Alt-Delete and pulled up the task manager. I did not save where I was at in that city. Population had gone up over 1 million in just a matter of minutes of letting the clock run. But what I wanted to do is kind of show you kind of the difference between these cities as far as your GDP per capita in Omnius Prime is 40,000. I have 53% low income, 43% middle income, 3% high income. I've got 11% unemployment, okay, and generating a whole amount of electricity this city shares with the nation. Wow, a whole bunch of it, I guess. Um, so that was my first city. Now my second city. Let's look at that. Here I've got a million and just over a million in population. 66,000 GDP per capita. Here we have 44% low income, 49% middle income, 5% high income. Okay, 3% unemployment. So see, I was learning here now. Arrakis, okay, GDP per capita, 73,000. Look at this now. 32% low income, 58% middle income, 8% high income. Whew, right now it's a zero unemployment rate, so inflation might be pretty high in Arrakis. Now, one kind of interesting thing, visual thing, I named this Arrakis because I was going to try to do a desert planet. And so there was some of this like desert level or sand level terrain here in Arrakis. So what I decided to do was I was going to, take the map down to that level, and then I was going to, theoretically I was going to do a desert city. Didn't work out that way because it just zones grass. So I didn't get my desert city, but what it did was it sunk the terrain level down below where you can actually see streets. You can see buildings kind of, but you don't see the streets like you do in the other ones. So when I came over here to Corin, which is now my fourth city. Okay, here a little over a million. 64,000 GDP, not as good as Arrakis. 38% low income, 55% middle income, 5% high income, 3% unemployment rate. Okay, then I started Giddy Prime. Right now it's 513,000, 74,000 GDP, 31% low income, 61% middle income, 6% high income, 2% unemployment. But this is one where I started it. Then I found out how to do the government unlock, so I did the government unlock. And then I decided, and I also learned from Andy that the underground train, you lay the tracks under the roads, and it has to be all flat. So then when I got to Rossack, and here we have population of 1,548,000. GDP per capita is 71,000. 25% low income, 65% middle income, 8% high income. Unemployment rate, 4%. And so yeah, this one, Rossack, really was the one that did a great job with. Now, I think I'm going to wrap up the episode now and think about what am I going to explain for my next episode. So until then, I thank you for watching, and I hope you'll be back to watch my next episode.